So, hunger. We know it's so easy to overeat sometimes, and we know that when we diet, we get hungry. So, what can we do to stop feeling hungry all the time? I've got a few tips for you. First one, look for foods that are high in protein, high in fibre and high in water. All of these are great characteristics of foods that make you feel full, okay? So think of foods like meats, seafood, eggs, protein powders, whole grains, fruit, veg, legumes, oats, foods such as them. Oh, and also things like fat-free cottage cheese, fat-free Greek yogurt, in particular the fat-free varieties. These are all foods that have some of those combinations, okay? So, and I build my diet around these foods because they make me feel fuller, okay? Next, sleep. Lack of sleep quality and sleep quantity will increase both your hunger and your drive to eat certain foods. So in particular, it will increase your drive to eat high sugar, high fat processed foods. So essentially junk food. You know, the foods that we struggle with not eating all the time anyway. So we don't really need any extra help there, do we? So make sure you're getting both a good amount of sleep quality and sleep quantity. Both are important. Next, black coffee. So black coffee has been shown to suppress appetite in some people. Okay, now remember that I say black coffee, and I'm not talking coffee with loads of cream, etc. and sugar. We're talking plain black coffee. Next, HIIT or high intensity interval training, again, has been shown to suppress appetite, particularly sort of blunt, acutely. So in short periods after the sessions. So that can work for some too. So HIIT work. Next, slow eating. So think of, you know, I think a lot of the time you may have heard like it takes so long for the brain to hear the gut signal, etc., etc. But I think also that it just comes down to a bit of like mindfulness. I don't think that most people take any more than 5-10 minutes to eat their food. But if you slow it down, there are some studies that show this might be beneficial if you chew your food more. But again, I just think being more mindful and not eating food whilst watching the TV, whilst doing work, whilst reading on your phone, etc., etc. Actually looking at the food, I think you just enjoy it more as well, you know, paying attention to what you're eating rather than, you know, the classic that we've probably all done at some point is you're just constantly spooning it in whilst you're eating, and then all of a sudden, you know, nothing's actually coming into your mouth and you look at your plate and it's all gone. And you can't even remember eating it, right? Actually pay attention to what you're eating, you know. Push it away from you for a little bit if you have to, and just pay attention to what you're eating, and you'll probably enjoy it a lot more. You'll probably notice different flavours and etc. But also, you might also just feel a bit fuller. Okay, so try that one as well. Next one, potatoes. Didn't mention this earlier because I wanted to give it its own category. Potatoes ranked #1 on a satiety index of common foods. So essentially, they tested 38 different foods and potatoes were the most filling. Now, keep in mind that these were plain boiled potatoes. Again, just kind of like the coffee example. If you drown them in butter or you drown them in sour cream, it's A, going to increase the calories, and B, it's probably not going to be as filling. So we're talking plain boiled potatoes. I like to use the sauce of the dish I'm making rather than covering them in butter. Use a little bit of butter if you want, but I like to just cook them with a different, you know, say with chicken and some kind of sauce, and just use the sauce to cover the potatoes. Potatoes, low in calories, very filling, but again, plain and boiled. Next, regular eating time. So essentially, when we eat regularly, our body can almost like sense patterns and behaviours. So what it will do is it will release hunger hormones in response to these regular times. So if you deviate from this plan or this set schedule as such, you may get that sort of, that regular release of hunger hormones not long after you've eaten, okay? So that's why it's better to try and eat at kind of the same time as you can each day, because again, then you're just not getting that release when you've not long eaten, okay? So try, if you can, as much as you can, eat at regular times each day. So there, on most of them. I've got one more big one for you, but I just kind of want to say as well that hunger is very individual. So there are big differences between people. Some will feel it a lot more than others. It's okay to feel hungry, okay? So when we diet, increasing hunger is one of the tools that our brain uses to try and get us to stop losing weight and to regain our weight. Brains don't like us losing weight, okay? So one of the ways it tries to stop us doing so is to increase our hunger. So even if you do all of the things that I've said tonight, you may still feel a little bit of hunger, and that's okay. Because what I want to touch on now, which is my last point, is a lot of hunger is psychological too. So just because you're hungry doesn't mean you need to eat. You know, if you just had a huge meal and then 20 minutes later you feel hungry, you're not physiologically hungry. There is no physiological need for you to eat. That is psychological hunger. It's a standard thing that we see all the time where we have a huge meal, we're absolutely stuffed, someone brings cake out and all of a sudden we're starving, or we actually feel like we're hungry and we get a craving. We don't need food, we just want the cake. And again, it's just kind of psychological hunger, okay? So try and look out for this as such, because just because you're hungry doesn't always mean you need to eat. It could just be that a particular food is in front of you, so you're craving it. It could be that you just, you see that food and you just know how good it is. And again, it just increases your hunger and your desire to eat it. Or it could just be that maybe you use food as some kind of emotional, like some kind of way to satisfy emotional needs. Because, a lot of us do comfort eat and we use food as that comfort. So again, maybe it's not physiological hunger. Maybe it's tied to this psychological aspect of it. So there's a good 8 or 9 tips for you. So hopefully you've got some value from that. If you have, as always, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel so you get updates for new videos. Drop a comment, anything that you may have got from it, anything that you've found that works for you that I've mentioned, or maybe something that I haven't mentioned that you find works really well for you too. Drop it in the comments, let me know. It's always cool to hear. Thank you very much, guys, as always. And I shall see you soon. Thank you.